Language learning is more than just vocabulary and grammar. It's about mastering those hidden skills that can truly improve the way you perform in English. In today's video, I'm sharing 5 powerful language learning strategies that are often overlooked but can transform your English. Are you ready to find out the 5 strategies that can change the way you learn English? If so, then let's get into it. First, let's talk about pattern recognition. This is probably one of the biggest things influencing your language learning. Many people focus on learning vocabulary when they start off learning a language. You focus on learning all of these different words, but then you have trouble when it comes to actually putting those words to good use in a conversation. I can't tell you how many students I have that know lots of vocabulary, but when it comes to a conversation, they can't recall them to use them when they really need it. If you can't use the vocabulary, then they become pointless. There are patterns used everywhere. Think about how many times you have heard phrases such as, "I'm not sure," or "I'll leave that up to you." It's easier to understand phrases like these as a set so that you don't have to end up translating everything through your native language first. This is the phrase, and this is why it's used, is a much easier way to think about the English language, don't you think? If you're always thinking about translating everything word for word, you'll find out that some things don't translate well in every language. Why not just think of phrases and patterns for their overall meaning and use? In English, I say it like this. Translating everything word for word is just going to slow down your progress in learning English. If you can start to recognize patterns, you're going to be able to predict what's going to happen in a conversation. You're also going to be able to memorize more vocabulary in general because you're going to be thinking of that vocabulary as a set part of a pattern. This will also make it easier for you to recognize and be able to build your own patterns so that you can improve on your English. That will take us to the next skill, which is similar to pattern recognition, and this is called chunking. Chunking is all about focusing on phrases rather than individual words. This allows English learners to acquire more natural sounding English by just internalizing combinations that real native speakers use. Essentially, it's about breaking down language into manageable, meaningful chunks that's going to make it easier for your fluency and comprehension. Learning English this way is also going to help you with your vocabulary and grammar. If you just focus on those individual words, you'll find that you're going to be stuck a lot. Especially when you're just starting out, it's going to be hard for you to build and create your own sentences only using the vocabulary that you know. If you're focusing on learning chunks, for example, "by the way," or "I'm pretty sure that I'll be free on that day," it's going to help you sound more fluent. Try memorizing chunks that can be used in different situations and also over and over again. Start with chunks that are relevant to you, and then you can just work your way out from there. If you're a teacher, for example, you're probably not going to want to start out learning big chunks of medical phrases. It's also easier to remember things that you talk about daily. One example of chunking that I would use are phrases that have to do with TV, movies, or sports. And if you've seen any of my videos before, you know that I talk a lot about basketball. Just think about the things that you do the most each day and then find phrases that are going to match what you do daily. I really think that you'll notice the difference in your fluency. Next, let's talk about managing expectations. As you probably know, learning a language can be frustrating. It never goes as smoothly as you would like it to. You're probably not going to progress in the way that you want to, and then just when you think that you finally have it down, you have a big setback. The way that I think about learning a language is that if it's not my native language, I shouldn't expect to know everything right away. I am going to make mistakes, so when I'm speaking in Japanese and maybe I make a simple mistake and get laughed at, I have to expect that I'm going to make mistakes and then just move on from there. I also have to know that it's okay to make mistakes. You aren't stupid when you don't know something in English, and if you did know everything, then you wouldn't be learning English, would you? The main thing is, when you do make a mistake, are you learning something from it? The trick to frustration is that if you are frustrated, it's probably because you are taking the chance to learn something new. If it's always easy, then you probably aren't really trying anything new. It's okay to be uncomfortable, and if you really do get too fed up with something, it's okay to put it to the side, take a break, recharge, and then come back when you're ready. And you might not notice it right away, but if you are putting in the work to study consistently, little by little, over many days, you're probably going to notice those effects and then also find out that you know a lot more English than you think you do. So just get comfortable knowing that you're not going to know everything, and this is going to lead us into the next step. Have you ever thought about how to learn English? No one has one magic formula, and you just have to know what works the best for you when it comes to learning English. The way that I learn a language may be different from the way that you learn a language, and that's okay. I have a friend who doesn't like studying, but she learns everything through movies and TV shows and real conversations using those phrases that she learned in the TV shows and those movies. Maybe when it comes to you, you like learning through stories or even reading books. The point here is that you need to do whatever works best for you when it comes to learning English. So try different ways of learning and find out what works best for you. Be curious about what is and what isn't working for you. There is no one-size-fits-all way of learning English, so just find out what works the best for you to get better at it. Finally, let's talk about why it's okay for you to sit in silence. It doesn't have to be a scary thing. You should be able to take the time to think about what you want to say without being embarrassed or shy about it. It is okay to think about what you want to say and get it right than having to feel that you need to rush to just get something out to have an uninterrupted conversation with no breaks. Many people think that if they are pausing that it's going to be an awkward silence, but even native speakers take the time to really think about what they want to say before just blurting something out. The next time you listen to a native speaker, really pay attention to how many times they pause or use phrases such as, "let me think," or "could you give me a second?" These are just ways to gather your thoughts and really think about what you want to say before saying it. I'm sure you do similar things in your native language too. Silence doesn't have to feel like forever. Don't put so much pressure on yourself to be perfect. Just focus on having a good conversation, which is most important. And remember, no one is perfect, not even native speakers. So how about taking a second to think about what you want to say before saying it? You may even use filler words like "well" or before getting your ideas out. Well, that's going to be all for today's video. So if you got any good benefit out of it, how about sharing this video with someone else that you think it will help? If you're interested in learning how to use YouTube to improve your English learning, how about check out this video that's popping up right here. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. See you.